Just a reminder to vote in this week's Locals poll, where you decide what deck I take to Locals every single week. Without any further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today we have another deck profile for a deck that I took to Locals a while ago. This one is Heroic Challenger, so without any further ado, here's a quick cut to what the deck looks like on paper, then we'll get to the card by card. Alright, so starting off with the monsters, we've got triple Heroic Challenger Assault Halberd. So this one is basically like a Cyber Dragon. And if it inflicts battle damage, we can add a heroic card from our deck to our hand. So basically, because we want to go second with this deck to try to OTK, this being able to just special summon itself out, just like Cyber Dragon, is a must. Next, continuing with special summoning, we've got 3,000 Blades. So for the cost of discarding a card, we can special summon a heroic from our deck. So we can use it to get Halberd or one of the other ones we'll cover later. This is just a way to get rank 4s as quickly as possible. Then we also have 3 Morning Star. So this is going to be our main searcher, because when it's summoned, we can get a heroic spell or trap. So we can summon this off of 1,000 Blades if we don't draw it. Just a really good way to, again, make those rank 4s as soon as possible. Next, we're actually going to be running 3 copies of Double Lance. So this allows us to get material from the graveyard. When it's summoned, we can get another Double Lance from the grave. So just wanting to kind of see this as often as possible to facilitate that. Next, we're going to be running 2 copies of Extra Sword, basically, and this is a really good target to summon off of 1,000 Blades as well, where it's used for as an Xyz material, the monster gets an extra 1,000 attack. So, good way to facilitate OTKs there. Next, we're going to run 2 copies of Sword Shield. This is a nice way to ensure that you survive if you're not able to OTK in the first turn. This is a good way to protect your life points. We'll get into that later. And then we're going to be running 1 copy of Spartan. This is a funny little battle trick where if an opponent's monster targets it for an attack, it can gain the attack of another heroic, just to kind of be like, haha, you fell for it. Then for the last monster, we're going to be running 3 Knuckle Sword. So basically, we can special summon this from our hand if we have a heroic, and then we can either make this level become 4, because all the other ones that we're running are level 4, or we can make that one become level 1 for the rank 1 heroic. Just a nice little way to extend, especially, you know, things like Ash, Valor, things like that. Just a nice little way to extend your play. Only drawback is that it does lock you into only attacking with Xyz monsters. That's the only drawback. But of course, you're wanting to OTK, so it doesn't really matter that much. Moving on to the spells now. We've got Heroic Envoy at 3 copies. This is basically a Rhoda for heroics. Enough said. Next is 3 Heroic Call. So we can use this to special summon a heroic from our hand or graveyard. Again, enough said. These also have graveyard effects. This one, if your life points are 500 or less, you can add a heroic card from your grave back to your hand. And this one, your heroic monster gains attack for each heroic monster that is on your field, and also for each heroic card that's attached to your Xyz monsters as material. So, really nice to just try to facilitate OTKs. Next, running 2 Heroic Chance. Just, again, trying to get OTKs. Target a heroic, its attack becomes double. Only drawback is that it can't attack directly, but that's usually not going to be a problem if you're going second. Next, for some kind of interruptions, I'm running 2 Xyz Import. So, since we are trying to basically get our rank 4 monsters to as high of an attack value as possible, we can just about attach almost anything to our monster as material. And then this can also be used during the opponent's turn, like if we're forced to go first to try to stop our opponent. But it can also be used to get rid of things that would prevent our OTK from going through, certain negations, like monster effect negations, things like that. Next for some of the generic spells, we got Foolish Burial, Monster Reborn, Reinforcement of the Army, and 2 copies of Double Summon. So Foolish Burial, we can dump a Double Lance to facilitate that play. Monster Reborn, just for extending. Rhoda, it's Rhoda, enough said. 2 copies of Double Summon, just to ensure that we can make a rank 4 in case we can't search out something like Heroic Call or search one of the heroics that can special summon themselves. Just a way to ensure we get the rank 4s. Moving on to the traps. Running 1 Heroic Retribution Sword. So basically, any battle damage you take from battles involving is also inflicted to your opponent, and then it destroys the opponent's monster that it battles. So again, just a really nice way if we're going first, or if there's a really problematic monster we can't beat over for some reason. There's an out there. I'm also running 2 expendable die. So we tribute a warrior, target a card on the field, destroy it, and if we destroy that target, we get to draw a card. So this is just more interruption during our opponent's turn, and it also lets us draw, so we can get some of our crucial rank 4 pieces there. And finally, we are running 2 copies of Spirit Barrier. So as long as we control a monster, we don't take any battle damage. And I'm running this because the main rank 4 we make pays a lot of life points to where we only have 500 left. So this is kind of a way to make sure that, say, if for some reason our big boss monster doesn't OTK the opponent and its attack gets dropped down to 0, we still live. So it's just a way to protect our life points there, so that way we don't get OTK'd. Moving on to the extra deck now. 1 Jarn Griper. So I'm only running 1 of this because this one's just kind of a bonus. I typically don't make this during my first turn, but it can increase its own attack by special summoning a heroic from the grave, and then it lets you gain life points on attack declaration. So it's just a nice little extra way to get Clave Solish's effect off again. Next is 2 copies of Heroic Champion Excalibur. So this one is, this is kind of like the backup, I guess. So you're going to detach 2 materials, it doubles its original attack, so it rises to 4,000. And so this is just kind of a backup. I actually did use this to end a game against B Trooper when I took it to locals. I ended the game with this guy at 9,000 attack, thanks to Heroic Call. But yeah, so this is kind of like a secondary win condition. You don't really rely on that one too much. Next, 2 copies of Heroic Champion Gandiva. So this is going to be one of the plays I typically go for if I am forced to go first, because when our opponent special summons a level 4 lower monster, we can detach material to destroy it. So unfortunately, it doesn't have a negate, but we can destroy crucial monsters, you know, like to stop their combo. It's not the best, but for a pure heroic deck, it's what we got. Next, I am running 2 copies of Heroic Champion Kusanagi. This is one that we typically don't summon all that often, partially because it requires 3 level 4s, but also because it deals with trap cards, but it's there if we need it. But like I said, this isn't going to be something we have to worry about too often. And then finally, rounding out the extra deck is our main boy, Heroic Champion Clave Solish, running him at 3 because, you know, he's the main boy. So basically, while he's on the field, he's the only one that can be attacked. And then during our main phase, we can pay life points where we only have 500 left. And at the start of the battle phase, he doubles the attack of 1 monster on the field. Typically, we're going to be targeting himself because when he declares an attack, we can target an opponent's monster and it gains attack equal to that monster's attack. And it's not necessarily the attack target. So if our opponent has a really strong monster and a really weak monster on the board, we can attack the weak monster, but then gain the strong monster's attack points. So yeah, this is the main guy. You want to stick him on the board as quickly as possible because this is your main OTK machine. Alright, so that does it for the deck profile. So now we'll do some shuffling and we'll get to some test hands. Alright, let's see what we get. Alright, Thousand Blades, Spirit Barrier, Halberd, okay. Retribution Sword, okay. And Sword Shield, okay. So, not bad. Now, this is a going second deck. It's basically a blind second deck. So, we're going to draw a 6-card double lance. Okay. So, with this, there's a couple ways we could play this hand just based on what would be on our opponent's field, how many known interruptions they have. But assuming that we were just going to go absolutely crazy here, like not trying to play conservatively at all, just completely balls to the wall, here's how we would go. So like, let's just say our opponent has, I don't know, a Stardust Dragon on the board and that's it. So this is what we would do. So we would start out special summoning Assault Halberd. That is just an inherent summon that does not activate. So we'd already have one body on the board. Alright, then we'd normal summon Thousand Blades. We'd activate Thousand Blades. We would pitch the double lance in our hand to special summon a heroic from our deck. Alright, so for this one, we are going to get Morning Star. So we're going to find the Morning Star any day now. Here we go. Alright, so we're going to summon Morning Star right there. And then Thousand Blades goes to defense position. Alright, so now we've got our Morning Star. Upon summon, Morning Star activates, getting us a search for a heroic card. So we're going to search out for a heroic envoy, and okay, cool, it's on the bottom. Alright, so we've got ourselves a heroic envoy. Then we're going to activate said heroic envoy, allowing us to search a heroic monster. Alright, so now we're going to get us a Knuckle Sword. There we go. Alright, then we are going to activate the Knuckle Sword in hand. Since we control at least one heroic monster, we can special summon it from our hand. Alright, on special summon, its effect will activate. We can target another heroic. We'll just get Thousand Blades for this one, since they're both in defense. And we can either make this a level 4, or we can make this a level 1. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to make this a level 1. Alright, so Thousand Blades is now level 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in Overlay for Jarn Griper. Alright. Then we're going to activate Jarn Griper's effect. So basically we can detach 2 materials from it. Then target a heroic in our graveyard and special summon it, and then it gains attack equal to that monster's attack. So we are going to summon back the Double Lance that's in our hand. It's in the other zone there. There we go. Alright, so now Jarn Griper is at, see, 17 plus 7 is 2,400 attack. Alright. Then what we're going to do is we're going to overlay these 2. For the boy, Clave Solish. Alright, now, since we're still in our main phase, what we're going to do is we're going to activate Clave Solish's effect. We pay life points until we have 500 left. So we're assuming that we just paid 7,500 life. Then at the start of the battle phase, one monster's attack on our field will get doubled. Alright, so at that point we would enter battle phase. Clave Solish would resolve. We're going to double him to 5,000. Alright, then we're going to swing into whatever monster our opponent has. We'll activate its effect. We'll detach one to gain attack equal to one of our opponent's monster's attack. That's at least 5,000 damage right there. and then 24 direct with Jarn Griper. Now, remember, because we use the effect of Knuckle Sword, unfortunately, Double Lance cannot attack this turn. But that's okay, because what we're actually going to do is, in our main Phase 2, what we're going to do is we're going to activate the second effect of Morning Star. So since we have 500 or less life points, we can special summon it from our graveyard with its effects negated. Alright, then assuming if we, for some reason, we're not able to OTK our opponent, we're going to go and overlay these two for Gandiva, so that way we can interrupt our opponent's combos in some way, shape, or form. Now remember, Clave Solace is the only one that can be attacked. So, as far as that goes, Gandiva's low attack point value being only 21 doesn't really matter. Now, in hand, we still got these. Alright, so Spirit Barrier, even if they were able to somehow, say they tributed Clave Solace for a Kaiju, we'd still take no battle damage because of Spirit Barrier. Whatever monster would battle our Heroic would get destroyed from Retribution Sword. And we would actually still have this as well. So basically, during either player's turn, as long as we control a Heroic, we can discard it, and we take 0 battle damage, and our Heroics can't be destroyed by battle. So, yeah. That would be basically how the deck runs. We'll do one more test hand, and then that'll be it. Alright, let's see what we get. Nice. Rhoda. Ooh, Xyz Import. I like it. Heroic Call. Okay, but we need... Okay, good. We have at least one monster. We're good. Morningstar. And Sword Shield. Okay. And, again, we're going to emulate going second because this is basically a blind go second deck. So, 6th card would be Double Lance. Okay. So, what we would do for this one is we would want to try to bait out some sort of negation. So, we would just go ahead and fire off the Rhoda. Alright? Assuming there's no Ash, and assuming there would be no draw and resolution for this combo, we are going to search out... Again, assuming we're going second here, we're going to go and search out a Halberd. Because it's literally Cyber Dragon. So we would then special summon Halberd to the field. Alright. Next, we are going to activate Heroic Call. So this allows us to special summon a Heroic from our hand. We're actually going to special summon Double Lance. This goes to grave. Now, you may be thinking, but why did you not summon the Morningstar? I'll tell you why. Because Morningstar has another effect, where if we control 2 or more warriors, we can actually special summon it from our hand. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to get Morningstar, because we control at least 2 warrior monsters. On special summon, Morningstar will activate, getting us a heroic spell or trap from our deck to our hand. So what we're going to do is, again, assuming we're going second here, we're going to actually get Heroic Chance. Because this time, it's pretty much going to be a guaranteed OTK. I can promise you that. Alright, so we still have 3 cards in hand. Boom. Alright, so then what we're going to do is we're going to overlay the Morningstar and the Double Lance. For the main boy, Clave Solace. Then, just like last time, we're going to activate Clave Solace's effect in the main phase. We will pay life points until we have 500 left. Then at the start of the battle phase, one of our monster's attacks will be doubled. Alright, then, still in main phase, we're going to activate Heroic Chance, targeting Clave Solace. It doubles its attack until the end of the turn, but it cannot attack directly. Alright, so right now, its attack is 5,000. Alright, then we're going to enter battle. At the start of the battle phase, Clave Solace's effect will resolve, boosting Clave Solace from 5,000, because remember, Heroic Chance, so it was at 5,000, now it's doubled to 10,000 attack points. And, as an added bonus, we can use this, since it's a quick play spell. So, if there's another monster that we just want to get rid of, we can just go, oh, Xyz Import, give me that monster and attach it to Clave Solace as material. But let's just say that there's only one monster on the field, okay? And we can't attack directly, so we can't use this card. So, just hypothetically, worst case scenario here. So we would attack with Clave Solish. We would activate its effect. We'd detach one. We'd gain attack equal to that monster's attack and deal 10,000 damage. All for Handshake. Now, if for some reason our opponent still wasn't dead, we do still have Halberd. And if Halberd gets through, if we have to attack with Halberd, we can search any heroic card we want. So in that case, what I would probably do is go for Knuckle Sword, get Jarn Griper, and then use Jarn Griper to reborn the Halberd. And then we'd still have these two in reserve. So, yeah, that's basically it for the deck. This is just kind of a unga bunga, make a really big stupid beater and just hit our opponent with a big number. That's basically what this is. Very simple, but very, very fun. Highly recommend it for anyone looking for just a cheesy, simple OTK deck that's really fun. Highly recommend this deck. But yeah, that's going to be it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, vote in the weekly locals poll, so that way you can decide what deck I take to locals every week. So yeah, that's going to be it for this, and I'll see you next time.